Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. Good morning and welcome to the Bowtie Gardens. It's weeding day. Yeah, tons of weeds to pull. Now, I don't think these things are zinnias, but I'm not sure. So I'm gonna leave them growing, but like this dollar weed in here, nothing as satisfying as pulling out, you know, a foot or two of dollar weed root like this right here. It comes out when the soil is nice and loose. It comes out in these long strands. It's very satisfying. Pull a mile of that out. It's also very satisfying to get a root out, a root of a weed out. There's even a, that's the seed right there. Huh, that's interesting. So there's the seed for this particular weed. Love the taproot on this thing. It looks kind of like a carrot, and look at that root. I may have to figure out what more of these are. That's kind of interesting. And then I've pulled a few of these things out. Look kind of cloverish, but they have like a white carrot underneath as well. That's interesting. Finding all kinds of things here in the garden. If you're new here, please subscribe. Talk mostly about gardening, sometimes about life. Don't miss any of the upcoming videos. We're hopefully building some new beds here pretty soon over there. I've got the sifter and everything all ready to do some work today. But I'm just gonna get back to pulling some more weeds in the rest of this pollinator bed and try to save as many of these suspected, I give them a 40% chance of being zinnias. I think the leaves are too close together. The leaf sets. They normally come up with those leaf sets further apart, more of a spread between each set of leaves, but the leaves look exactly the same. Those don't right there. I don't know. I have to find out. There's some more down over here in the shadows. Trying to save those. That's the angel trumpet right there. It's coming back. Have to chop off the top of that, the dead part, because the new stuff is growing out. Want to give it some more space. The onions over there, of course, taking off. Let me speed up the camera again. Get back to theme music. Satisfying. For anybody that's new, this channel is really just my personal log of things that I'm doing in the garden, and I included that as a little encouragement to future me that yes, you can weed, you can do it. So I'm celebrating a completion of a big project as of yesterday, and felt like I could get out here and do some work, so I'm gonna keep going as long as I can. But you already subscribed and you're watching, thank you for watching. If you know the names of any of the weeds that I showed you, comment in the comments below. Give the timestamp of where the weed was. There's a number that I'm still learning. I know Dichondra, dollarweed, Mexican rough clover. I know a couple of others, but I need to start making myself a chart and stick it in my little garden bench so I can have it with me, know what they are. If those aren't zinnias, let me know too, because I'm about 40% sure that they're zinnias, but I seem to remember there's there's another weed out here that starts off looking like zinnias and then it goes all wrong. So I don't know if that's what this is or not. I did save about 20 or 30 of them in that bed. And you can see the hue of green over here in the asparagus bed. And that's dollar weed. That is all dollar weed. And love pulling that stuff up because it comes up in these long, if the soil's loose enough, which is why I was using the little claw. If the soil's loose enough, they just pull up. And I think my record's about 6 foot long on one of them. But yeah, so I'm just gonna see how far I can go. I'm wanting to get started on 1 or 2 of the upper tiered beds we have planned. I really want to get some mammoth melting snow peas in for the year, because this is when they're going to start germinating and getting ready to grow and produce. It's a little cool. It's the middle of February. This is the 18th of February, so we're past the middle of February, which means I got to get ready for my February garden tours here in about 10 days. Got to make it look good for myself, but it's so nice to see the dark soil. And I'll put a link in the description, and if you get cards, I'll put a link in the cards up here to that video where we built that bed. But it's still nice and fluffy. And the so big news, we have trailing nasturtium coming. I have a bag of trailing nasturtium on the way from Johnny Seeds. It's what I've been wanting. It was what I was wanting last year, but I couldn't find any last year by the time I got to that point. So getting to them now. I've got a big bag of like 1,000 seeds coming, so I intend to get those things growing everywhere. These 2 pollinator beds with the zinnias popping through, the nasturtium underneath. Very excited about that. So yeah, first bed is done. I'm excited. Wow, that feels good. It didn't take me too long. Maybe what, half an hour, I believe, and it's done for a few months now. So we'll have to see what grows in there now. I really hope those are zinnias. I put a lot of I deadheaded a lot of zinnias into that space, so I'm hoping that we can get those started, which is my goal eventually, is to have zinnias popping up everywhere with nasturtium trailing around. So anyway, time to get to this top of the tiered beds up there where that trellis is. That's coming out, and gonna try to get a bed dug right along there up to just past the wheelbarrow over there to the left. So next step, next project for the morning. So in case you're wondering what that panel is, it's a 16-foot cattle panel, and you get them at Tractor Supply. I think they're about $32 a panel right now. They're the heaviest gauge metal that you can get. You can get the rebar stuff, and it's cheap, but this stuff will last a very, very long time. I've been following several YouTube channels that use them, and some of them have them that they've used for over a decade, and they still look exactly the way they did when they got them brand new. So those cattle panels are very useful for trellises. One of the things that we had, of course, if you watch some of the earlier garden tours, we had 2 of them parallel to each other here. This was the back one, and we grew snow peas on them, then we grew beans, and so that was our first year gardening on the new property here. Well, since then I've kind of reformulated my plan, and what I want to do is I want to create the 5 tiered beds down here, and I want to create archways between the top 2. So in other words, where that one just came, that's going to be the back, and it's going to arch into the next bed. And then we'll grow snow peas in the spring, and as soon as the snow peas peter out, we'll plant beans. And this will be our second planting of beans, because the first planting is in the back. in raised bed number 2, which is going to be expanding this year by about 50% at least. So all excited about that. But yeah, so that's what that is. It's a cattle panel, 16 foot by, I think it's 52 inches. I think it's 50 inches tall. They do have pig panels, which are basically the same thing, only shorter. And they also have 8-foot panels, which are, of course, 8 foot long. But the 16 foot makes a really good archway. You can see a lot of those in the garden. In fact, you can see one right there as my grape arbor. Actually, that's the first one. There's 2 there, one behind the other. And I'm hoping to add 2 more this year and expand that grape arbor some. But yeah, so now I'm gonna get that thing moved and see if we can start doing a little sifting of soil. I don't know how long this is gonna take. This is my big project for the morning. So we'll see what happens. So I measured 22 feet from the sidewalk. We're gonna have 5 beds that are 30 inches wide with 4 aisles between that are 28 inches wide. Comes out to right about 22 feet, within a couple inches. So the string line gives me a straight line to put the bricks on. These bricks are recycled bricks from a neighbor's project. I'm just pressing them in. Now this is only going to be 1 course of bricks, so they don't have to be level or anything. I'm trying to get them as level as possible, get them to look good. But as the rain comes and as everything settles in, it'll look more weathered and more like it belongs. I've got my Hori here. This is a slick tool from Corona. You see it has a serrated edge along there. That's great for cutting roots. It's really thick stainless steel, which means it's very durable. It's very thick. But I'm running it right along this line and cutting what's left of the grass on each side. On this side, I mean. I've already done the other side. This side here. I'm doing this side now. And then I can run the Hori under and pull up that last little bit of grass and Dichondra. I gotta tell you, this Dichondra, it grew real thick throughout this bed. And it was very cool because it just released the dirt. There was no holding onto the dirt when I sifted it. It was the coolest thing. I need to look more into cover crops. That sun is real bright on my head. It feels warm. It is still a cool day here in the panhandle of Florida. So this bed actually goes, I've only sifted down right here, just barely off camera. Goes another 3 feet, I guess, further. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this end down here yet, but I know I wanted to sift here because I need to get some mammoth melting snow peas in the ground pretty soon. And that's what this bed is for. I've treated it really well by getting all the roots out and all the dollar weed, that white weed right there, that white root. But I needed about 17 feet of bed because the bed next to it's going to be 17 feet also. And it's going to be arch trellis going from the middle of this one to the middle of that one that you can walk under. I know it's hard to visualize sometimes when someone's trying to describe their plans and not showing. Hopefully by next weekend. Oh, looky there. Tell you what, big old earthworm. I'm mourning the loss of a few, but I rescued hundreds, absolutely hundreds of earthworms throughout this 17-foot bed. I could not believe. I knew there was good earthworms in there, but not that many. That was pretty surprising. Anyway, I've got a brick with a bit of mortar on it. I don't want that one in here. I only want good flat bricks on top. And these bricks, I mean, you just figure out what you want to do with them. That's all I've done here. The bottom has this, this is actually to go onto a house. It's siding for a house is what it is. And so anyway, it's a little rustic. There's one side. By the way, this is a mulching rake. I got this one at Ace Hardware. It's a little heavier duty. I love this rake for the garden. But anyway, it feels good to make some progress. I took out about, I think 5 buckets of roots and weeds and other stuff from this bed. I'm gonna move this string over 30 inches and do the other side. I could be planting snow peas. Yeah, snow peas tomorrow. Woo! That would be fun. That'd be nice. Oh my goodness, that would be wonderful. At least get this side done, get the posts in and get this side done. That would be fun. Anyway, so like I said before, I haven't been a whole lot of talking in this video. Maybe there has been. Yeah, I guess there has. I can't shut up, can I? The 5-tier beds are started. So I'm going to try to get the other row of bricks on here either this afternoon or tomorrow. It's probably about 3 or 4, somewhere between 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. February 18th. If I can get that side done and get the posts in, I might just go ahead and do the old get the peas in the ground so they can start germinating. That would be exciting. So anyway, first bed of 5. I don't know if I'm going to sift all 5 of them. That was quite a pain in the neck. And last year when I just put cardboard on it, it did really well. Cardboard and compost, and I might be getting some compost this week. But this bed, it had already been, the grass had been killed. I'd done the cardboard and compost on this, and that's why it was so diggable. Down at the other end where I dug about 3 feet at the other end that had been grass, it was pretty hard to dig, and there was a lot of dirt loss. So the cardboard really seems to have done a great job. The rest of these beds are going to be a little deeper though. There's not just going to be 1 row of bricks. The next one starts with 2 rows of bricks, 2 and 3 rows of bricks, because it starts sloping. You can see the slope here on the camera, how it slopes further and further. And the last bed will be 1 row of bricks on the back and probably 4 or 5 on the front. I haven't got that far yet. I think it's 4, but we'll have to see where it ends up. But I want to do these tiered beds that kind of capture water as it runs down this hill. If you've already subscribed, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. If you thought this was informational, educational, or just entertaining, please click the thumbs up. And feel free to share this with your friends on social media pages that you think might enjoy the content. We talk mostly about gardening, sometimes about life. And this is just really my own personal log of what's going on in the garden. Keeping track of growth and what I plant and dates that I do things, kind of just keeping the information up so I can go back and look. And I frequently do. I'll go back and look at my logs and figure out when I did something and so forth, and it's really helpful for my ADD brain to remember things that way. So alrighty, I guess that's about all I'm going to share for now. Look for the upcoming garden tour. The first garden tour should be up by the end of the month, I hope. This is 19th, this is tomorrow. 26th, yeah, hopefully by the end of the month. The first part, which is this front and side garden, should be up for the garden tour. And can see where we've gotten. Got some weeding done and a new bed remade, I should say, because this bed was already made once. But I kind of let it go. I say I kind of let it go. I didn't really do anything with it over the winter month. We're in Florida. There's not very long of a winter. Well, obviously I didn't quit. Got both long sides done. That was pretty easy. I did start playing around with this Dichondra, and it makes this really fine mat of ground cover. Real fine, almost clover-like, but it's Dichondra. And this is what I have found out about it. Number one, it is used as a ground cover. Ooh, what's that? No idea. It is used as a ground cover, but how about for a cover crop? Look at this. Not only does it just peel up, you shake it a little bit and the dirt stays. Those white roots, that's dollar weed right there. But this is pretty cool. Look at all that Dichondra that's just come up and taken the dollar weed with it. How cool is that? I'm just running my hand underneath it. Oh my, look at all the dollar weed it got with it. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into what we can do with this stuff. I know it's edible. That's pretty cool. Well, that's me done. Whoops. I'm beat. It's been a long day. Hope your day was as good as mine. Have a blessed day.